July 30th, 1975. Detroit, Michigan. Jimmy Hoffa, one of America's most powerful and feared labor leaders, drives toward a quiet suburban restaurant called the Machus Red Fox. He's there for a meeting. He waits, checks his watch, but no one comes. Hours later, Hoffa's car is found in the parking lot, unlocked, empty, abandoned. Jimmy Hoffa has vanished. To understand Hoffa's disappearance, you need to understand who he was. Born in 1913 in Brazil, Indiana, Hoffa grew up poor. His father died when he was just 7. By his teens, he was working on the docks, and he hated seeing workers abused by greedy bosses. He joined the Teamsters union, a group representing truck drivers across America. His charisma, his stubbornness, they made him a natural leader. Hoffa fought for higher wages, safer conditions, and dignity for the working class. By the 1950s, Jimmy Hoffa wasn't just a labor leader. He was the face of American workers, respected by millions, feared by the powerful. But power rarely comes clean. Hoffa needed allies, and he found them in the mafia. Through the Teamsters' multi-billion-dollar pension fund, Hoffa financed mob-controlled construction, hotels, casinos, the glittering empire of Las Vegas. In return, the mob gave Hoffa muscle, protection, leverage, and influence. But those deals came with a price. He wasn't just a union boss anymore. He was tied to organized crime, a world that never forgets and never forgives. In 1967, the law caught up. Hoffa was convicted of bribery and fraud, accused of trying to manipulate a jury during a previous trial. He was sentenced to 13 years in prison. Even behind bars, Hoffa kept pulling strings. But the world was changing. His influence was slipping. Then, a twist. In 1971, President Richard Nixon commuted Hoffa's sentence, setting him free. But there was one condition: Hoffa was banned from union activity until 1980. He didn't care. He wanted his throne back. While Hoffa was in prison, the Teamsters had moved on. The mob installed Frank Fitzsimmons, a quiet man they could control. When Hoffa started pushing to reclaim his power, it shook the balance. He made calls, arranged meetings, demanded loyalty. But the mafia had other plans. To them, Hoffa had become a liability. Too loud, too ambitious, too dangerous. And when the mafia feels threatened, people vanish. July 30th, 1975. Hoffa leaves home at 2:15 p.m. He tells his wife, "I'm meeting Tony Pro and Tony Jack." He drives his maroon Mercury to the Machus Red Fox in Bloomfield Township. 2:45 p.m. Witnesses see Hoffa pacing outside the restaurant, frustrated, nervous. He calls his wife from a payphone. They're late. It's the last time anyone hears his voice. By evening, his car is still there, but Hoffa is gone. The FBI launched one of the largest investigations in US history. Hundreds of agents, helicopters, dogs. They searched fields, rivers, even construction sites. One theory said Hoffa was killed in a nearby house, his body cremated in a Detroit incinerator. Another claimed he was buried under Giants Stadium in New Jersey. Others whispered he was mixed into a car's steel frame, forever hidden. Every lead went cold. Dozens of mobsters were questioned, but no one talked. Silence. Complete silence. In 1982, Jimmy Hoffa was declared legally dead, but his story refused to die. To some, he's a hero, the man who stood up for the American worker. To others, a symbol of corruption, greed, and power gone wrong. Hoffa's disappearance wasn't just a crime, it was a message. In the world of money and loyalty, no one is untouchable. Nearly 50 years later, one question still lingers. What really happened to Jimmy Hoffa? Did he walk into a meeting with the mob and never walk out? Or is his body still out there, buried beneath layers of concrete and time? One man vanished, but his shadow still looms over America's story of power, corruption, and silence.